The newly opened Agua Caliente Cultural Museum, located in the city of Palm Springs in the state of California, welcomed us to appreciate its galleries and exhibitions. The long-awaited museum has opened its doors, and my family and I had the wonderful opportunity to attend it. Our visit took place on November 11, 2023, so we had to buy the tickets online for a certain time of access to the museum. The reception of the museum is very beautiful, and we realized that on one of its walls there are many names written on it. From there we went to a room where there is a 360-degree display screen, also with some projections on the floor. In the next room, that for my taste is the most beautiful of all, the ecosystem of the Palm Spring Canyons and its desert areas is exhibited. What we loved is that these canyons change overnight, altering the way of life of the organisms that inhabit it. Likewise, in this room there are some baskets with different designs and of different sizes. Likewise, there are also some clay pots with different external designs and of different shape. One of the people who are part of the information of this museum revealed to us a couple of very funny secrets, which consisted of seeing the faces that formed in the palm trees that were inside the exhibition, which looked like faces of some Indian spirits, and another was to see in detail very well inside the caves of the canyons, since inside them there are exact copies of the cave paintings that have been found in these places. This gives a very unique touch to the exhibition. The Cahuilla use a weaving process known as coiling, creating beautiful baskets out of various plants and grasses, including deer, grass, sumac, and juncus. Serving both functional and ceremonial purposes in traditional Cahuilla life, these baskets provided ample inspiration for the Agua Caliente Cultural Plaza's interior design. As the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians continues to share its traditions and history with the public, it's no coincidence that the new Agua Caliente Cultural Plaza, expected to open within the coming year, has Cahuilla culture woven right into its foundation literally. Upon entering the new 48,000 square foot museum, visitors will see a visual celebration of Cahuilla culture, starting with the bespoke terrazzo floors that weave traditional basket designs throughout the building. Basket weaving is central to Agua Caliente culture, so it was natural to incorporate and memorialize this in the design in some way, says Scott Salela, Principal and Chief Operating Officer of JCJ Architecture. Indeed, the practice of basket weaving has played a significant role in traditional Cahuilla life. As a rite of passage, elders presented young Cahuilla with their own baskets when they came of age. However, while baskets served a practical purpose, they also became important trade items, and these woven pieces share the stories of the Cahuilla people, often reflecting important cultural elements such as plants and animals, including birds and snakes. Though the weaving tradition almost disappeared over the last century as the need for baskets diminished, this beautiful art form has experienced a resurgence in recent years, with many tribal members learning how to weave their own baskets. So, it's fitting that historical precious basket designs be incorporated too within the interior design of the Agua Caliente Cultural Plaza. There are also several LED screens where videos are displayed with a lot of information about the hot water culture, where they talk about its origins in this area of Palm Springs, its settlements, the arrival of the colonizers, the gold rush and its adaptation to the new modern world without losing its customs and traditions. One of the elements that they exhibit in this museum that caught my attention was the first coin-swallowing machine that was used in the first casinos in the Indian reserves, clothing, commonly used tools, photographs, significant history documents, and some models with video projections that feed the interest of visitors more. When leaving the exit rooms, there are some galleries full of hundreds of motorcycles from the region, places, their people, customs and images that recorded the history of this amazing tribe. The cost of admission to the Cultural Museum Agua Caliente is very reasonable. I found free parking spaces around the museum and the time spaces that are granted between one group and another of visitors is correct so as not to saturate the exhibition rooms and thus decrease the experience of the good appreciation of the different elements that are exhibited in them. Ollas. Beautiful and bulbous ollas, clay vessels that the ancient Cahuilla Indians used to store seeds, food, and water, were once a staple of everyday living in Indian country in Southern California. After picking elderberries and wolfberries, for example, the Cahuilla would either eat them fresh or dry them in clusters and store them in ollas for later. Sometimes they boiled the fruit into a sweet, rich sauce. You can easily identify ollas that were used for cooking because their earthy surface turned black. The Cahuilla and other Native American tribes mastered the materials and innovated techniques to mold large rounded bottom vessels. 500 years later, archaeologists continue finding shards and fragments that help piece together the story of these artful objects. They were making some incredible pots back in the day, says Tony Soares, one of precious few artists who continue to make ollas and teach others about the almost forgotten craft. They made them from superfine clay, and some look like balloons. It's amazing that from a little hut under a tree in the middle of the desert came these marvelous pieces of art. Ollas were not only functional but also distinctively decorated. The designs are very similar to petroglyphs, he says. While Cahuilla baskets have a geometric design, everything fits together. Ollas have upside-down handprints, dots, diamonds, zigzags, and a cross with an outline all the way around it, he says. I've also seen a double cross and a flower pattern, but mostly a lot of diamonds and zigzags. Another way he distinguishes a Cahuilla olla from others is by the presence of gypsum carbonate, which he traces to the Sultan Sea and Mecca Hills. It bleaches out the surface, he says. I worked with a lot of clays out there and sampled them for years. It's Sultan Sea buffware. I looked for that clay for 15 years, and it took another 5 years to figure out how to fire it. The design and clay often indicate which tribe created a particular vessel, which is significant because, Soares says, they were being traded and bought everywhere. They were also exchanged in marriages and in gambling. The vanishing ollas. In the 1800s, ollas became as rare as they once were ubiquitous. Experts offer many reasons for their disappearance. Deborah Dozier, Associate Professor of American Indian Studies at Palomar College in San Marcos, has written that as illnesses devastated the Cahuilla communities, Fewer people remained to make the pottery and teach the craft to others. In time, they were forgotten and the art of making ollas was lost. It died out, soars deadpans. Hardly anyone is making them even today, only 2 or 3 artists. Soares says the vessels fell out of favor when metal pots, pans, and buckets became available. Remaining ollas belong mostly to museums and private collectors, such as the Agua Caliente Cultural Museum, Palm Springs Art Museum, and the Campbell Collection at Joshua Tree National Park in 29 Palms.